Okay, in this video we're going to take a look at a debate between Rashbam and Ibn Ezra regarding God's reaction to Moshe's repeated excuses for why he can't go to Egypt and the end of the parak. So we're told, after what we saw in the last video, how even after Moshe is concerned about a speech impediment, God tries to comfort him and says, I'll be with your mouth. And Moshe says one last time, Bi Hashem shlachna biyad tishlach. God, please send whoever you're going to send with, not me. So God gets angry. V'charaf Hashem b'Moshe. God gets angry at Moshe, and he says, you know what? Maybe Aaron, your brother, would be a better choice. And so he comes up with this idea that Moshe is going to be the primary leader, but Aaron's going to be like a spokesperson. Diberhu l'chal ha'am. He's going to speak for you to the nation. Ve'ahu yeh l'chal lefeh. He's going to be like your mouth, right? Aaron's going to be Moshe's mouthpiece. So God was angry at Moshe. V'charaf Hashem b'Moshe. What does that tell us about what happens later in the parak? Does that mean that because God's angry, Moshe has to get punished? Or does Moshe get lucky here that even though God's angry, there's no punishment? So Rashbam tells us here, Ve'charaf Hashem b'Moshe, Charon af asa roshem. God's anger here left a mark on Moshe, lefi pshat, according to the pshat. Why is he saying it left a mark lefi pshat? Because Rashbam knows, and he assumes we know from reading Rashi, that Chazal debated whether Moshe was punished for this. If we look back to Rashi, Rashi quotes a debate. One Tana, Rabbi Shua ben Korcha, says that over here, in this case, Lo matzinu sheba onesh al yado. In general, when God gets angry, he always leaves a mark. But in this case, we did not find that any punishment came to Moshe. So lucky Moshe, he got a free pass here, even though usually if God's angry, you're punished. And a different Tana, Rabbi Yosef, disagreed with him. He said, no, Moshe is punished because his brother Aaron here is called Aaron Halevi, to remind us that at this point, Aaron's a Levi, he's not a Kohen. And so according to this other Tana, Rabbi Yosef, that Rashi quotes, God's original plan was to leave Aaron as a Levi. God wouldn't have made Aaron a Kohen. God wanted the kahuna, the priesthood, to go through Moshe. But since Moshe didn't fully embrace his mission, now it won't be this way. Rather, Aaron's going to become the Kohen. Aaron, who until now was Aaron Halevi, is going to now become a Kohen. Moshe, you're going to stay a Levi. So, because Rashi quoted that debate about whether Moshe was punished, and because according to Rashi, even the view that he was punished is a punishment that happened much later when Aaron becomes a Kohen instead of him, that's why Rashbam feels compelled to weigh in here the fi hapshat. Say that according to the simple pshat, God's anger left a mark. He uses that same phrase, Charon af asa roshem. The anger left a mark, but says Rashbam, that mark, according to the pshat, according to the pshat, he left a mark here in this story. Because we see later in this parak that God appears and wants to kill Moshe. Where does that happen? You have to skip a bit. God finishes talking to Moshe at the burning bush. Moshe goes home and tells his father-in-law Yeter, meaning Yitro, that he's going to go back to Egypt. Yitro wishes him well. God reminds him that Moshe has to go back. Moshe puts his family on donkeys. God appears to him again and reminds him to do all those miracles. And after all that, on the way in an inn or a motel, God appears to Moshe and wants to kill him. Why does God want to kill Moshe? Says Rashbam, it's a consequence of what we saw earlier. God was angry at Moshe earlier that Moshe kept pushing off the mission, and even after Moshe was out of excuses, he just says, Shlachna biyad tishlach, send somebody, don't send me. And so finally God lost patience and says, you know what? I'm going to get you for this. I'm going to almost kill you. That's Rashbam's view. And it seems a little bit forced. I mean, I just read through the rest of the parak quickly to show you how much happens in between. And so you'd think if God wants to kill him on the spot. But I think Rashbam would say to that, look, if you look at all these developments, all these subsequent developments where God keeps appearing to Moshe and saying, when you go to Egypt, do all these miracles. And before that, he appeared to Moshe when Moshe was asking permission from Yitro and told Moshe to go back. And then Moshe takes his family, which Rashbam interprets to be a sign that he's stalling. You could debate if it's good or bad to take your family with you. Rashbam thinks over here that it was another sign that he was lazy. He was being lazy in his walking, and taking his family with him. Because we all know if you ever travel with little kids, you know traveling with little kids makes the trip much slower. So by Moshe bringing his family, it's like he wants the trip to take longer. So Rashbam would say God basically got angry up here in Pasuk, Yudalid, where it says Vecharaf Hashem b'Moshe, and God's anger does not subside. He's angry that Moshe doesn't want to do this mission, that Moshe keeps making excuses, and that anger kind of remains pent up as Moshe keeps dragging his feet and asking permission from Yitro and taking his family, and God keeps saying, go, 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 and Moshe's not listening. And so finally, this anger which began when Moshe said to him, Shlach na biyad tishlach, it reaches a breaking point in the Malon where God says, you're taking too long, you're taking your family with you, and that's making you travel slower, and you have to stop at a hotel. Enough, I want to kill you. And Rashbam now wants to know, is there evidence from elsewhere of this idea that God punishes people for not going or not going fast enough? And so he says, if we look back at his comment, he says, I'll bring you a proof from another story in Tanakh. Yaakov also became lame on his ankle. Right, that's the famous story of the angel who fights with Yaakov and wounds Yaakov in his leg. So Yaakov becomes lame as a result of a fight with an angel. Now, how is that a punishment? So Rashbam believes, we could debate this, but Rashbam believes that if you look over here in Breshit Perek Lamed Aleph, when Yaakov was living in Lavan's house, at a certain point, God appears to Yaakov and tells him, now it's time to go back. Go back to the land of your fathers, and I'll be with you. And so once God tells that to Yaakov, he has to go back to Eretz Canaan. He should go back with his chin held high, feeling proud to fulfill this prophecy that God gave him. Instead, you know what he does? He gathers his wives and kids, and I'm skipping down a little bit here, still in Breshit Perek Lamed Aleph. He waits till a time when Lavan's not around. Lavan went to shear his sheep. Lavan halach ligzos et sono. And while Lavan's out shearing his sheep, Yaakov kind of sneaks away. Literally, Vaygnov Yaakov at Leiv Lavan ha'armi. Yaakov stole his heart. We call this today in Rabbinic Hebrew Gnevat Dad. He tricked him. In this English translation, he outwitted him, right? Yaakov outsmarts Lavan that while Lavan's away shearing his sheep, Yaakov leaves without telling him that he's running away. And so it takes Lavan 3 days to figure it out. Eventually Lavan chases after him, and there's a whole to-do there. Why is Yaakov sneaking away? Didn't Hashem tell him, go back to your land? If Hashem tells you, get up and go, why do you have to do it in that deceptive way, as if you're ashamed to fulfill God's commandment? So says the Rashbam in Perek Lamed Bet, where Yaakov, on the way home, encounters this angel that's supposed to symbolize Esav, says Rashbam, the fact that Yaakov became lame, developed a limp, and was struck by this angel, it's a punishment. God promised him, go back home, which of course means God's going to protect him, and instead Yaakov's running away as if he doesn't have anything protecting him. So we've seen with anybody who runs away against God's will, or they refuse to go where God tells them to go, they get punished. Anybody whom God says, go do mission X, Y, or Z, and they don't play by God's rules, they get punished. So Yaakov listened in the sense that he went back, but he went back deceptively, instead of going back proudly in broad daylight. He was punished over here that the angel wounded him in the leg and made him limp. So too says Rashbam b'Moshe, Moshe said to God, I don't want to go on your mission, send whoever you're going to send somebody else. And so God got angry, and Lefi Pshat, according to the Pshat, and here he gives you the whole midrash that Rashi had said about how Chazal had said Moshe was punished later by not becoming a Kohen, but Lefi Pshat, according to the simple Pshat, Moshe was punished because he was lazy about going home, and therefore it says, therefore it says that when Moshe wanted to go home, God appeared, you see it in context on Al HaTorah by clicking, on the way God appeared and wanted to kill him. Right? Yonah tried to run away from his mission from God, and a fish swallowed him up. And Bilam's the opposite. Bilam, if you know the story, God told him not to go. Let's pop it out here. God told Bilam, Lo ta'or ta'am kivaruchu. Don't curse that nation. Don't curse Bnei Israel. Ta'or, like the word arur, curse. Don't curse them because they're blessed. And even later, God appears to Bilam a second time. He says, if you want, you can go, but I'm going to limit what you can say. And so obviously, God doesn't want Bilam to go at all. Since Bilam begged and begged, God eventually said, fine, I'll let you go, but I'm going to tell you what you can say. I'm not going to let you curse them. And so when Bilam gets up well enthusiastically to go on this mission to curse Bnei Israel, God gets angry, and he stations this angel to block the path of his donkey. And fast forward a bit, as a consequence of that in the story, the donkey has to move off the road, and Bilam's leg gets kind of pressured over here. Looking for the exact pasuk over here. It says Vatilachetz halakir. It was pressed up against the wall. Vatilchatz rega Bilam halakir. It sort of squeezes. Picture this donkey in a very narrow place, moving from side to side, and Bilam's leg gets crunched between the donkey and the wall. So why does Bilam deserve that? Says Rashbam, he deserves it, and Rashbam assumes it really got crunched. Nasa chiger. Bilam had to limp after that. He deserved it for the opposite reason of Yonah, Yaakov, and Moshe. Yonah, Yaakov, and Moshe were punished because God told them to go, and they either didn't go, or in Yaakov's case, he snuck out in the middle of the night. He didn't go enthusiastically and proudly. Bilam went when God told him not to go. He also got punished. So says Rashbam, we have this general principle that anyone who goes against the will of God, or doesn't go against the will of God, whoever either refuses their mission from God or tries to outsmart God by going when God told them not to, he's going to punish them, often with these injuries. Yaakov gets an injury in his leg, Moshe almost dies, Bilam gets an injury on his leg, and Yonah almost dies. So, according to Rashbam, this is a general principle. That's all Rashbam. What about Ibn Ezra? So we then saw that Ibn Ezra disagrees with this. Says Ibn Ezra, in his long commentary, it's impossible for Vayakesh Hamitov, for God wanting to kill Moshe, to be a punishment for this. It can't be the reason why God wants to kill Moshe is because Moshe said, Shlach na biyad tishlach, ki atah ro'ishi vakesh. Atah, with an ayin, now's the time God should kill Moshe, if that's the case. God should want to kill Moshe at Har Sinai if Moshe refused to go. God shouldn't wait for Moshe to finally go, and then finally when he's in the Malon, maybe you think Moshe waited too long, and it was wrong to ask Yitzchak permission, it was wrong to take the kids. But if you've been wanting to kill Moshe ever since he said, Shlach na biyad tishlach at the sneh, why do you wait until he's finally, at the rest stop on his way to Egypt, on the Malon on his way to Egypt, and then you try to kill him? Kasher amru acherim, like some people said. He doesn't name them, but obviously the publisher that I used over here for this edition of Ibn Ezra thinks he's talking about Rashbam. Ibn Ezra says that approach is ridiculous. Why would God want to kill him only when Moshe is on the way, when he's finally, at the time when Moshe is going there? Rather what? So why did God want to kill Moshe then? So according to Ibn Ezra, God did not want to kill Moshe for saying Shlach na biyad tishlach. Rather afterwards, because of the lack of circumcision, right? If you look then in the story in Ibn Ezra, says Ibn Ezra that eventually God wants to punish him because Imlo Yimal Beno, for not circumcising his kid. We have to talk more in a separate video about why he should be punished. After all, isn't it dangerous to circumcise your kid on the way? Didn't he have a good excuse? For now, what I want you to see is that the basic difference here, that according to Ibn Ezra, according to Ibn Ezra, Moshe is not being punished here for saying Shlach na biyad tishlach. The punishment comes later, and that's why in that later story, the solution to the punishment is to circumcise the kid. Right? Sipporah takes a sharp rock and circumcises the kid, and that saves Moshe's life, or saves the kid's life, depending how you read that story. So, in sum, Rashbam thinks that Moshe is punished for saying Shlach na biyad tishlach. God sees that as symptomatic of Moshe's laziness, and as Moshe continues to be lazy, God tries to kill him. Ibn Ezra clearly is arguing with Rashbam, because he says, don't bring me any proof from Yaakov. Well, Rashbam was the one who tried to bring a proof from Yaakov, right? And Ibn Ezra's own view is that Moshe is not being punished there. He's only being punished